It's the FooRcast. We going forward.
Okay.
And double T.
Sweet baby doublet. Right, Aki, you want to talk about production, don't you?
I think so. I think it's important to let people know how they can maybe improve their production and stuff like that. And what makes me see this, I saw Eats Everything the other day on social media or something. Said the best thing he ever did was not buy certain equipment and stuff like that. It was upgrading his speakers.
Interesting.
So I think he upgraded. He said he had Rockets. He upgraded them to Adam. I don't know which ones.
Adam Audio.
Adam Audio 7.7s or whatever. And it actually took his production to another level to where he needed it to be. So I think
what he said that was the most important thing he'd done.
He said he got like a tax rebate or something. It was like 800 quid. So he bought these speakers, and it took his production sound quality from down there to the level it needed to be in order to get recognised and stuff like that, and
all right, so
get to the quality of being
Odog, do you agree with that?
I think in my experience, yes. The biggest change I found with my production and taking like a step up was when I upgraded from some Pioneer monitors to Yamaha HS8s. I'd been wanting to upgrade for a while, but obviously it's quite an investment, especially as like an upcoming artist. And so I sort of looked around at what other people were using, and at the time that I was looking around, Zero, who's obviously one of my favourite artists, had posted a thing about his monitors, the same ones, the HS8s, saying that he swears by them and that he has used them for however long. And so I thought, I'm going to go with it. I actually sent him a message and said, are these the real deal? And he said, yep, swear on them. So I got a set of those and some lovely shiny stands that came with them in a Gear for Music bundle, and haven't looked back since.
How would you say that's improved your sound and music, or your ear for music and stuff like that, or mixing and stuff?
It's mixing. I think it's one of those things. They're the same monitors that we've got in this studio as well.
Yeah.
And I wasn't aware of how much you couldn't hear on the speakers I had before until upgrading, and suddenly maybe it's the frequency range or the compression or anything like that you can suddenly hear a whole load of things that your ears aren't tuned into on a smaller sound system.
Have you got a sub?
No, I don't.
So yeah, this is important advice. It might not feel like it's important to people at home, but we were mixing down an artist the other day, and John Doe, I think it's johndoe.net, JONDOE. He is a member of FooR, and he does mixing and mastering for a living. It is johndoe.net. He was mixing down some tracks from someone, and he could tell from mixing down that this person had small speakers or was mixing down in their bedroom. So it does affect how the mix, how you hear things. He also says when you can hear mix downs when people haven't got a sub, you can hear that because there's no low end in things. We got one in Adam Audio thing. So I'd recommend that. So it's definitely, it might be a thing you fit. Obviously, they can be a lot of money. How much were they? I can't remember how much ones were. Can you remember how much your ones were?
I think Adam's 7 or 8. They're about £900.
I think it's like 400, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't remember them being.
I don't think it was crazy, but at the time it was like from my previous pair, that was a big step up.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. And get a sub if you can.
That's interesting. You said that. I hadn't actually considered that because I don't have a separate sub for them, but I use John's feedback service. He's got one where he just types feedback obviously he knows what he's talking about, and he's got a really helpful one where he makes a private YouTube video where he actually films a screen and gives you really constructive feedback, and he can show you what's going on. And a lot of the stuff that he sends me is about the low end.
Yeah.
So obviously having
you're not hearing it.
Yeah, he's got a lot more control over that, having an actual sub. So maybe I'll have to invest in one of them then.
Yeah, 100% you should. So yeah, that's Owen makes a good point there. So if you do want to get your mix downs better, if you're a producer of any level and you're not happy with your mix downs, I mean, even if you're mixing down to a high level and you want a second opinion, let's say John does 2 services, johndoe.net, JONDOE.net. One service is just £5. It's so cheap. And he'll just type back, this is, I would do this, I would do that, I would do that. Like that's probably if you just, if you are a bit more experienced and you want just a pair of ears on it, like a really, really professional pair of ears. But then there's another service, which I think is £20.
It's a bargain, isn't it, really?
Which is crazy. And he'll do a private YouTube video, as Owen said, and he'll go through and show you, this is what you should be doing, this is what you should be doing, which obviously you have that video forever. So the next time you do a track, you can use that video again.
Yeah.
And then you can use that for every mixdown you do forever. And obviously you can keep going back at £20 a time, you should be, until he says this is fine.
that's the point I wanted to make as well. That like it might be reluctant because spending £20 on feedback for one song in theory doesn't sound great, but he's given me rather sort of like rules and tips and stuff that I then can translate to the next mix down on a different track and things like that. So it's not just a one time turn up your kick, add more sidechain. It's here's a technique that you can use on this track, but also you can use it going forward in your other tracks.
Yeah.
So aside from the upgrading my hardware and actually getting new monitors, John's feedback has been the most helpful thing for me improving my mix downs.
And that was what, 20 quid?
20 quid, yeah.
And there's another thing as well. Again, I don't know the price, but I think it's called SonarWorks.
Yeah.
And it's a system, and no matter what speakers you got, you put it in what speakers you have, what headphones you have, if you've got a smaller room, what speakers you have, blah, blah, blah. You put in everything you have, and it can basically put it through the headphones it basically can make it sound like it's whatever speakers are in whatever room, and it can bring the quality up so you can actually listen to, this is what it should sound like. I don't know how much that is, but it's definitely called SonarWorks. Yeah, SONAR works. So look into that. Again, I don't know if it's more expensive than to get actual speakers, but that's a great thing as well if you haven't got.
I think obviously KRKs are okay to start off with, just to start learning and stuff, but then once you feel like you're at a level where you can start making good music, you should probably then consider the upgrade.
Would you say that that's the most important thing in terms of like the actual program you're using, the computer that you're using, the hardware that you're using? Would you say that it's the monitors are the most important part?
I think if you're just starting, like Aki said, just starting is the key.
Yeah,
just starting. I think when we first started the FooR, me and Dave, we'd start records on KRKs, and we'd go to John's, us gather them together, and John could straight away, like I say, could tell that there's certain sounds aren't right on these speakers, which he's adjusted in the mix on and the production. So I think they're good to start on. You can get just learning, like you say, and
yeah, get anything to start. And then obviously there's services like John's where he can tell you what to do and things, and you can get by. But because he also does a mix down service. He will actually just do it for you if you want. If you haven't got the speakers or you haven't got the confidence, and you can hear the difference.
Yeah.
So and there's there's artists of all sorts of people doing it for years. So some people just don't like to mix down. Some people just don't trust their ears or get sick of it. I think it's fine to get someone else to do it.
There's an ear for it in there, mix downs. So you've got to have an ear for it. And certain people just don't have it, and they need help.
So I think the best thing to do is just start. And obviously, if you're making music, you can hear it. Go, this is good. Then get better speakers so you can hear it better. If you're making music and it's rubbish, don't get better speakers. This is still going to sound rubbish. You're just going to hear with a bit more detail how rubbish it is.
I think that's what he said. Everything say. He said, "Look, my music was good, but it wasn't hitting the." And when he changes speakers, the sounds he could hear more, and the mix just changed his sound design forever.
Especially if you're making music to be in clubs, it needs to do, it needs to hit certain frequencies and do certain things. And if it sounds rubbish in clubs, DJs won't play it, people won't react to it. That's definitely it is important.
Yeah.
But I would say, the most important thing from a very, very beginner's point of view is just start.
I mean, I would highly suggest using John.
How long did you till you upgraded your speakers?
I can't remember now. I've had these ones for probably coming up to 4 years now.
And how long were you producing before that?
Started producing properly in 2020. So that's when I would have bought the Pioneer ones. I think I got them when I got my first decks.
Like a package thing with Pioneer. Yeah?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then upgraded. I think it was like a Christmas or birthday present to myself.
Yeah.
I was upgrading them. But that would have been a couple years ago.
So did you release any tunes that you made on those Pioneer speakers?
Yeah, all my earlier stuff would have been on those.
The stuff that sounded like it was underwater.
the stuff that if I listen back to now, I think it's almost nice to listen back to because you can hear the progression.
Yeah.
And I think the monitors are a big part of that.
Yeah.
So what? So it's there you go. That proves that you can do it. You can release stuff. Did you have anyone mix down for you? Did you mix down by yourself?
I've always mixed down by myself, but I've always asked people for feedback and stuff several times over until.
Can you remember the first tune that you made with the new speakers that were released?
Oh,
and the last one of the other ones? People can go and listen to.
Yeah, go right.
Not specifics, but any drum and bass song I've released is on the new ones.
I have noticed the better, the increase in sound.
Yeah,
like,
I think
quality
part of that
yourself.
as well is in my new flat, I'm fortunate that I've got a spare room which I've been able to turn into like an office studio space.
Yeah.
So because I've got that and I've got a bit of sound treatment on the walls and things like that, I think they're all.
I would say from the
factors
first
that-
time you gave us a record to now, I know you obviously could improve, but I think the sound design and everything sounds much better.
I think as well, even in shorter term, because I've only really been making drum and bass for a year and a half now, I think there's a big difference between the first drum and bass tracks I made and the drum and bass tracks
That's
I've
what I'm
got
saying,
now.
100%.
Aki's been very nice to you over these last couple of podcasts.
Yeah, well, that's long may it continue. It's because he's finally got his shorts on as well, I think.
Yeah, I think we've all joined in.
I think it's a short. It's just
Yeah, I think we all feel like part of a gang. So yeah, but the room is.
What about headphones as well? Because some
This is what I was going to say.
I see people talking about headphones as well. Can be important as well.
But then again, that program Solar Works is if you can have any headphones for that as well. But you want like studio headphones that block everything out. But also to say to Owen's room, he said about the room, like it's important, like the room and where your speakers are positioned and stuff. 'Cause little things like that can really help have the sound bouncing around.
Someone else said it. Like it might have been Chris Lake's. Like the way he listens to how like final edit of his song is just like on his laptop or something on his car or something like that. That's how he knows it's going to sound.
This is what
good.
I was going to say, is that lots of people do like, because like car testing's like a big thing for producers, and like listening to it in your AirPods and listening to it just out your MacBook speakers or whatever, because as musicians, as producers, we're probably the most critical of our sound, but lots of people are just going to be listening to these in like cheap headphones or in a car stereo.
I don't know what the actual number is, but the bigger percentage is going to be listening on cars, and that is the
on
best
your
place
phone,
to test them. Yeah,
Spotify on your phone. I mean,
We had a free download not too long ago where a guy sent me the track, and then like a week later he was like, I need to do a new version because I listened to it in my AirPods and it didn't sound right. So that's an interesting way of looking at it. If that's how people are going to consume it, they're not going to be listening through KRKs or HS8s or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is about that. You're 100% always test on AirPods is the first thing. Like finish a record and leave it for like I'd probably leave it 2 days at least, and then listen back on the AirPods. That's always my process. But you should listen. I don't drive, otherwise I'd try to do it to the car probably. But like, yeah, it's different. Like, but it is, you can get in your head a bit, because we did a song the other day. I listened in the AirPods, it's fine. I listened to it in Tyrone's car, and I was like, it doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
And then you listen to it in here, and it sounds right. And then you just that's where a service like John's comes good, because you can go round and round in a circle. Like, oh my god, it sounds good here, but not here and not there. And you need someone to say.
Yeah, I think sometimes as well you can push a sound too much. Like I've done it, and then it sounds good on speakers, and you go and hear it on laptop, it sounds really distorted and stuff like that. So I think like it's quite important to
I've
judge
been guilty of sat in front of my monitors for way too long, and then the next day listening to a track and thinking, this sounds completely off.
There's a word for that. I can't remember what it's called, but that's
so important.
That's quite a familiar thing in the industry.
Well, my new thing that we've been doing is now like I only spend like 2 hours, 3 hours on a tune,
and
then stop, and then go back to it the next week, and then you go back and go, oh wow, this is good most of the time.
Yeah.
And then you go, and then you just hear blaringly obvious things that are missing or wrong, and then do it again. Like, so now we're like, we used to just hammer through and just try and do everything in a day, but now it's like this new process is so
I think sometimes you can spend too long, can't you?
Yeah, and I think you're messing about to make things 5% better, and sometimes things are like you're in it for so long. There's stuff that's blaringly obvious, but you don't see it because you're too busy focusing on the wrong thing. So we've been doing that process for I don't know how long for, but I think the quality of the music's gone up. I think everything sounds better. I think everything sounds better. I think it's a lot more efficient.
Yeah,
because you're not wasting time on stuff, and it's just like, okay, I think everything's in there, and then you come back in and go, I need to work on the sub bass. There's there's not enough sub bass, or we need to. I
think you could spend too much. I saw another interview. Is it Stussy?
Chris Stussy, yeah.
He said the best songs he's made. He said it took him an hour in his kitchen. You know? And he said like you can spend too long on a record and get too involved in it and end up ruining it.
Overproducing.
Yeah, overproducing is a thing as well.
Yeah,
so
we did.
I think the stop thing is important.
Yeah, because we get it with when we have tunes with really, really good vocals. Sometimes I drive myself insane. When we did the tune "Hooligans" of Evil Be Live, we did about 24 versions of it, and you could tell he was getting annoyed.
Yeah,
I think we used the first version in the end, like because it was like you wanted his vocal to be perfect because you wanted to work with him for so long. And yeah, I think we went back to version 1 in the end. But it was like, you could tell he was like, oh, I've just tweaked this. And he was like, what, again? It was right 28 times ago. Like, so yeah, you can get in your head about it.
Yeah,
So,
you can tweak things out of control, can't you? I guess.
So yeah, get a producer friend that you trust there that's got a good setup and you can trust, or go to John, like for £5 you should be going to, or even £20 if you're learning. So yeah, I think this has been some great tips all round, guys.
Yeah.
Let us know other producer tips that you've got
or any
you
good
want to cover.
speakers you can suggest, like you use that you feel like work for you.
Yeah, anything else you've learned that you think was game changing, or anything else?
Yeah,
you want us to cover? Just let us know.
Yeah.
Well up.